my creatives, and welcome to another video. So today I'm making a mixed media snail mail folder or a mixed media greeting card. It just depends on how you want to look at it. But it has been a long time since I made a mixed media mail, so I thought it was fun to share that with you today. All I'm doing today here is I take this standard card base that I buy at Action, and they have envelopes with them that fit the size. So I take a card base and an envelope from that package, and now I'm just creating my background with some distress oxides. So it was a while that I made mail, and especially some mixed media mail. So I thought I would do something in my comfort zone, and that is working with distress oxides. Also, I love to work with distress oxides because you can create a very nice background very fast and very easy. The only thing is you have to keep going until you're happy with it. And for me, that was getting a color gradient on the whole card base. So this is not cardstock that is meant for a wet media, but it really doesn't matter as long as you have fun, and it's okay, it's doable, it looks really nice, so I don't fuss too much about that. So I'm just choosing these three colors that I'm using here is Salty Ocean, Tumbled Glass and Peacock Feathers. And if you want to know what supplies I use, there's always a list of supplies in the description box with all of the color names. And if I can find them online, there is also a link. Just remember that some of the links are affiliate links and some of them are not, but just so you know. So I'm just playing here with my distress oxide and making sure that I cover both sides of this card base with my blue distress oxides. After I was happy with my coloring, I'm going to do a doodly border. Of course I'm going to do that. Because I was feeling a bit rusty, I am gravitating to things that I know I will like. So doing a doodly border, I do that on almost everything, so it was a good way to get started and, you know, get that engine running a little bit. So yeah, that's what I did. I use a Staedtler pigment liner for this in a 0.3, but you can use all kinds of different supplies to create a doodly border. This is just one of my favorite pens to use, especially because I love it that it is permanent, and I really love the tip size. So I'm adding my own sticker to the back, and now I'm using this cloud stencil to create some clouds on my project. So this stencil was part of the Simon Says stamp kit that I'm using today. I showed you that up front, and I am just creating some clouds here with that stencil and the distress oxide. The beauty of the distress oxide is that they layer beautifully on top of each other. But I did have to go twice over every cloud to get a good impression, because it is of course a very light color and I want to put that over a pretty dark color, but that is the beauty of distress oxide. It's just a very subtle way of creating a background, and I really enjoyed doing this, and I'm very happy with this stencil. So this kit is from a few months old, but if I can find the products or a link to that kit, I will leave that down below in the description box, but I would definitely leave a link to Simon Says Stamp so you can check it out for yourself and maybe can find the products that I use. So after I was done with my clouds, I wanted to add some raindrops to this page, and I use a different distress oxide for that because I really wanted to have a bit more contrast. So I took a darker blue color. I can't see on the screen what color name it is right now, but like I said, everything is listed down below in the description box. I also don't know if I can find this raindrop stencil for you because it is pretty old and I believe it's from a Dutch brand, but any raindrop stencil would do for this. So here I'm going in with the stamp that was included in the stamp kit, and this is what inspired my background because I knew I wanted to use this girl. So you have this girl with an umbrella in the rain, and that is why I created this background. So she really inspired this mail, and I'm going to stamp her out with my Tim Holtz stamp platform. I'm going to be upfront with you because I didn't use my stamp platform properly. So my plate is still on a rubber stamp, and this is not a rubber stamp, this is a clear stamp. So I should have turned around my transparent plate for the right spacing of the stamp. It turned out okay with this stamping, but you will see later on that I figure it out when it's too late. But I will share that with you later on. So here I just stamped out the girl, and now I'm adding some ribbon to give another different texture to this page or to this snail mail. I love to use different textures, and I decided that I wanted to have like a blue and brownish color scheme. So that is why I also took this brown packaging, and this brown packaging is recycled because you get this in your orders if you buy stuff online, packages, and they nowadays add in some brown paper to fill up the box, you know, to prevent your stuff from breaking. So I always keep that paper, and I have quite a stash right now. And the funny thing is that not all the brown paper is the same. So this is a different color and has a different texture to it than other papers that I have. So I really like that, and it's free art supplies. So I always encourage you to check around in your house to see if you can use things for your art, because who doesn't love a little brown paper, you know? So I'm just going to stick that down with some double-sided tape. I also adhered my ribbon with some double-sided tape because I really don't like to use glue for that. Glue oozes through the fabric and stuff. So I usually add my ribbons with some double-sided tape. Now I'm going to adhere some of these blinks, and these are also from Action, and I bought them a very long time ago, so I don't know if they still have them. Action changes up their stuff quite a lot, so I don't know if they are still available, but that is where I got them. So now I thought the girl was falling a bit back into the background, so I decided I wanted to paint her with the Distress Oxides. So I'm going to use the same colors that I already used, and like I said, with the beauty of the Distress Oxide, they layer beautifully on top of each other. So the funny thing is that you still see the raindrops through her umbrella, but it has a darker color. So I decided to do a darker color for her umbrella and her shoes. And I'm going to take, I believe this is Salty Ocean, and I'm going to use that for her skirt, so her skirt stands out a little bit. And I'm also going to add the Salty Ocean to her umbrella because I thought it was still a bit too faint. So I tried to shade it a little bit, didn't like it, so because it was still wet, of course, so it's feathering. So I decided to add more of that blue to her umbrella, and I really liked it because the coverage was just a bit less translucent. So it really made the umbrella pop for me from the background. Here I'm going to spray on some water on my glass media mat, and I'm going to trying to bleach out her legs, but it didn't really work as well, so I'm going to use the tumbled glass to add a little bit of lightness to her legs and her belt. So now I'm going to dry her off, and that is the front cover. So now I'm going to take this pattern paper, and this was a paper that was included in the kit, and it's a 6x6 inch paper. I'm just going to cut it in half, and it just so happened that it was the perfect size for my card base. So I have here 2 strips of 3 inches by 6 inches, and I'm going to score them at 1/2 inch on 3 sides, and that is how I create pockets. And I'm going to mirror both pockets on both sides of this envelope. Look, it was perfect. I'm going to punch out half a circle because there's not a lot of interactive things going on. It's a pretty simple nail, so the details really matter. So I thought it would look fun to at least punch out half a circle from the pockets to create a little bit more interest. I'm going to glue these down. And after I glue them down, I will grab some binder clips and put this mail together because the paper was coming up a little bit. It's pretty thick cardstock that I used for the pockets, so I just added some binder clips and let that dry for a little bit before going to the next step. So I was a bit lost on what I wanted to do with this mail, and so I went through my stash and I found this very big butterfly, and it fit perfectly inside of my mail. So I decided to add the butterfly in the middle and make it so the wings of the butterfly would flip up. So I scored my butterfly in the middle of the body, and I lined that up with the scoring line of my card base. And I also scored the butterfly on the both sides of the body, so you can flip up the wings easily. Be sure to let this dry properly before you start messing with it again, because I messed with it too early and it came up a little bit. It was easy to fix, but to prevent some hassle later on, just let it dry for a little bit, get a cup of tea or something, and just wait for it to be dry enough so it doesn't come up again, because it's just a little gluing space. But I really liked that the butterfly wings were able to flip up from the pockets. It's something I've never done before. So it was really, really fun to have such a little interactive piece. So here you saw that the butterfly came up a little bit, and now I'm just leaving it a little bit to dry open. So I'm adding this note paper, which will have my letter on there, and I'm also adding some of these blue Project Life cards to one of the pockets. And on the other side, I'm going to add some butterflies and some washi stickers I bought from AliExpress. So I wasn't really sure which road I was going to take with this mail, so I thought I would grab some goodies first before finishing my decorating, and that really helped me to continue my decoration, because I loved the green contrast of the leaves with this blue and the butterfly and the nature vibe. So that inspired me to create, to finish off this mail and to embellish more, because I was a bit lost making this mail. So now I am going to work on the embellishments of the pockets, and usually I like to add some quote or a sentence in there. And I found these dilution stamps in my stash, and I thought they were perfect because I could use the same ink pad color as that I did for the girl. So I'm going to stamp out these two quotes on some white cardstock, and I'm going to cut them out by hand, and I will add them to my pockets. So I wanted to create a little bit of a diagonal visual line, so I have one of the quotes on the bottom and one of the quotes on top, and here is where I grab more of those leaves, and I really liked how that looked, so I'm just going to adhere them. These are clear stickers from AliExpress. They have been in my stash for a long time, or for a while, so I don't know if you can still get them, but I think I've looked for journal stickers or washi stickers or something like that, and I found these clear stickers, so I hope you can also find them. Just going to hit here everything with some glue, and then I will grab look, I love how that butterfly opens up. It looks so cool. I was in doubt if I wanted to do something on the inside of the butterfly's wings, but I didn't know what to do, so I just left it. But you could also decorate the inside of the butterfly if you would like. So yeah, I'm grabbing more of those blinks to add to my inside of my cover. I like to repeat embellishments to keep everything cohesive and that everything looks similar together. Now I'm going to add a washi sample for her, and I also like to have my washi sample in the same color scheme as the mail, so everything fits together. For me, that's the fun part, to also have the embellishments and the goodies to fit together. So of course I missed some of these leaves on my front cover, and I'm going to add this one to the side, and then I'm going to fuss around a little bit with a couple of leaves and trying to figure out what I would want to do on the front. But I wasn't quite sure. You will see me try out different leaves. Oh, I also love this tag, which it was included in the pack, so I thought that's also a nice goodie, right? To have just a tag that you can use for your own layering. So I just added in there. Every pack of these stickers has a tag like that. And I'm really not going to use all of them, so I like to give them away as well. Because I wasn't quite sure about the front cover yet, I'm going to add these two leaves to the back and a butterfly. Usually I don't do a lot on the back, but I didn't use any pattern paper. And usually I love to showcase the pattern paper on the back, but this time there was just this little bit of mixed media, so I thought this butterfly and these leaves would finish it off. So yeah, here you see me audition some of these leaves, and here's where I find out how I want to do it. So I find this leaf that's a little bit, in a circular way. I don't know how to say that properly, but I really loved it that it was covering up the girl a little bit, and it gave more of a dimensional look to my project. Now I am adding this ribbon. I like to use a ribbon or twine to close my flipbooks, but I wasn't really happy with it, so I just left it there for a little bit. And I always check if my mail fits the envelope, because I hate it when I decorate an envelope fitting the mail and then my work doesn't fit in there. So I always check before I start decorating. And I tried to tie it differently. Maybe that would make it look different for me, but it was something about the texture of this ribbon and the color that I really didn't like with the vibe. And then I remember that I have this piece of, rope or twine or how you want to call it, and it really matched with the color scheme and the more nature feel of this snail mail. So I end up using that and tying my flipbook together with that. So now I'm going to decorate my envelope. And so this is where I found out that my stamp platform wasn't properly set up. So it is on the rubber stamp side, and that means there's more room in between your paper and the transparent part where your stamp is. So this happens, and I didn't understand it, because the stamps of Simon Says Stamp are always amazing quality. So I didn't understand why I didn't want to stamp, and then I saw what I did. I didn't turn around my platform. So I am going to take my stamp off, and I'm going to try and stamp her feet. Here I'm turning it around. I'm going to try and stamp her feet, but I didn't like it. It was a bit crooked. I thought maybe an embellishment would help, but no. So I decided I'm going to grab this brown paper and I'm covering her up. And that is the beauty of doing things like this. You can always cover it up. So this is how I like to do it. I like to add my piece immediately on the piece of paper and then cut around it, because I'm notorious for cutting paper too small or too big. So I'm not even going to try that again. I'm just using my project as a template for that. So now I have a nice new beginning, and the fun part is I also have the brown packaging paper that is on the mail on my envelope, which was a happy accident. So here I'm going to stamp her out again, fingers crossed, and this time it worked out beautifully. Look at how beautiful this stamp is at once. So it was just my fault, or my little mistake, that it didn't work out properly. So now, of course, I'm also going to add some of these leaves to my envelope. I love to decorate my envelope the same way I do with the mail. Usually I like to use scraps for this, but I don't have a lot of scraps. I actually don't have any scraps with this mail. So I usually like to use the scraps for that, but I don't have any, so I added more of the embellishments to it. I always like to outline my mails with some washi tape or some clear tape to prevent the papers that I'm gluing on from ripping open while mailing them out. And this blue washi tape just tied in the blue that was on the inside of the flipbook. So now I just wrote out Jeanne with my stapler pigment liner and my own address on the back, and that is my mixed media flipbook for Jeanne. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you got some inspiration for your own snail mail and mixed media projects. If you liked this video, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up. I would also love it if you would consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye!